Hello. I would like to explain to you what I even mean when I say Team You, right? Because I have this new group called the Gifty Gathering, and the subtitle is Tools for Team You. And that's great, but what does Team You even mean, right? So there's you across time, and there's your upper brain and your lower brain. And I this isn't internal family systems or anything. I have just observed over the past year in myself and in my clients that when the members of this team are not working together, it's self-sabotage, it's like burnout, and just the like, why can't I just do it syndrome, right? Which of course also can lead to like overcommitment when it's like the little voice in the back of your head is going like, no, we're not doing that, but you say yes anyway, right? Like people pleasing, merging with other people just to like keep the peace of like, I'll just do whatever you want to do. Sure. Right. And the problem with that is it all leads to self-judgment and self-loathing, right? It would be fine. You can do whatever you want if it didn't all lead to burnout, self-judgment, and self-loathing, right? And so when the members of this team are working together, then that's when you can build a life that like feels aligned and congruent and all those other coachy words that just mean that you're not arguing with yourself all day, and that you can have the intentionality to build the life you want to live, right? And it's not just like reactive constantly. Okay, so that's not to say that there's not still going to be negative emotions, because you're going to have 50% negative emotions and you're going to have 50% positive emotions. But the thing I don't talk about when I just say that real quick on Instagram is like the 50% negative emotions can switch from being like dread and self-loathing to discomfort and like being on the edge of doing something a little bit scary, but doing it anyway. So, of course, reaching your goals is going to be a little bit painful sometimes, but it's getting way ahead of myself. Like, that's not even on the list of things I'm here to talk about. So you might have heard the, like, you would never say that to your best friend, so why would you say it to yourself, like, way of thinking of things, right? And that's, like, touches on what I'm going to talk about, but it is different than just, like, talking to yourself better. Like, it's not just a helpful framework for how to talk to yourself better. It's like, this is what I have observed in people. So let me get to examples. And so the you across time thing is like your past, present, and future self. And I think that it's much easier to just give you an example with times on it. So here we go. Ready? End of June, Kate. June 30th, Kate decided, I go by Kate in real life. Kate with an I and an E. It's a long story. Anyway, end of June, Kate, I go by Caitlin too. It's fine. Decided to commit to a like movement challenge that people in my like health accountability group are doing, right? And so they were going to do 20 push-ups and 20 squats and 20 minutes of movement a day. And I was like, I can't do 20 push-ups. It's real dicey if I can get 20 minutes of movement in, and I don't know about 20 squats. So I modified it that I was going to start with 5 squats and 5 push-ups and just try to go up and down up the stairs 10 times a day. Okay. I can squeeze that in between, right? Without having to like carve out a chunk of time with 2 little kids. Right. So, and I was also going to do this diastasis recti ab workout video, because I'm like, I know my core needs some help. Right. My daughter is 16 months old and my core still needs some help. So fast forward to July 10th, Kate hates the video. And I should say it started out as like, this video is perfect for me. You just lay on the ground, do stuff with your legs, and it works your abs. I hate when they're like, don't strain your neck. And you're like, all of this feels like it's straining my neck. So, but fast forward to July 10th, I'm like, I hate this video. It's the worst. It's so boring. I can't do it. And July 10th, I had also worked up to like 10 squats, right? And 6 push-ups. And then July 15th, 16th, 17th, Kate started feeling like so strong and so happy with the results, and like noticing muscles in my legs, and noticing when I squatted down to like pick up toys that like hey, everything's like working together and like feeling good. And I'm like, hey, I can exercise. This is so great. July 20th, Kate, I just watched myself fizzle completely. Like I had the thought, they say it takes 21 days to build a habit. And here I am on day 20, just like, peace. Is this why they say it takes 21 days? Is the 20th day like mile 20 on a marathon? I don't know about this, right? But this happened because I was happy enough with the results. I was like, look at me go. I've strengthened my actual muscles. I've strengthened in my belief in my ability to exercise and my belief that exercise actually does something. It kind of feels pointless sometimes, right? I don't know. Is that just me? So then that gives us to July 31st, Kate, who was disappointed that I didn't really finish like strengthening the endurance muscle of like, I'm going to follow through on this thing that I said I was going to do. So I'm planning on adjusting the requirements and like seeing it through for August. But the way that this could go wrong with your past, present, and future self, right, is July 10th, Kate, could have just yelled at June 30th, Kate, so hard for picking such terrible exercise video, right? Or July 31st, Kate could be like, I just always fizzle on everything and I'm never going to be good at this. And this is just too hard. I overcommitted. And I could get really, really mad at July 20th, Kate, for not following through and not doing the things that I said I was going to do, right? So whereas working as a team with past, present, and future me is looking at what worked and what didn't work and not just throwing the whole thing away because my team members are useless, right? That like, I'm never going to be able to make a good plan and I'm never going to be able to follow through on it because future me is terrible and present me is terrible and I always hate what past me does, right? So, the ability to look at things with just neutral data and then decide what you want to think about it is a super helpful skill. That's definitely one of the tools for Team U that we will be talking about. But I'm sure you have examples of that where you thought you had a great idea. You totally beat yourself up for not doing it the right way afterwards, right? I would love to hear about it if so, because that it's just so human of us, right? So then talking about like your upper brain and your lower brain, basically your upper brain makes plans and then your lower brain complains about the plans. Like your upper brain is the part of our brain that like animals don't have, where a dog's like, you know what, on Wednesday, I think I'm going to go try to catch a squirrel. They don't do that, right? And so our ability to make plans ahead of time is our upper brain human planning ability, right? And so the lower brain, though, is the one that just wants to conserve energy and avoid discomfort and keep you alive. And so when something seems like it's too much effort, like exercise, it's like, no, too much effort like that could kill you. What if you don't have the strength to run from a bear later because you did squats for some reason, right? So the tricky part is knowing when to listen to your lower brain, right? This is where there's like kind of a third like gut instinct that's like the arbiter between your upper brain and lower brain. Like it's just that, for me, it's just a tiny voice in the back of my head that's like, yeah, I am really tired. That might be worth listening to. Or like, that is a bunch of baloney and we just need to do this plan anyway, right? So I'm not necessarily saying that this example I'm about to share with you is the right way of doing things, but let me tell you about some self-sabotage I engaged in the last week. So specifically with my goal of like inviting people to the Gifty Gathering, right? So I emailed somewhat impulsively, just trying to like finish up the email before the kids are done napping. That on July 31st, when I first recorded this video, this is the retake because the audio was terrible. Anyway, when I first recorded this video, that was supposed to be like the welcome, like, let me introduce this first tool for you, blah, blah, blah. And I just kind of like made it up real quick, emailed it. And it was like an executive decision, just kind of a pun intended. But then I started having second thoughts of like, on Mondays, the kids haven't been going to bed super on time. It's been kind of tight to get to things by 8:30. I'm not sure I can do something at 8:10. And I realized, oh, I kind of want to explain what Team U even is in just like a free video podcast, whatever format. This thing, right? So I'm like, that Monday night could be a good time to record that. And so every time that I went to invite people, I was like, but if I invite people, I have to follow through on that plan that I now think is bad. And so this came off, this was all kind of just subtle, subconscious blurbs, right? Like, you know how when you like don't totally pay attention to your own self? That's why coaching is super useful, because you have to actually say everything you're thinking. But it's not like I really said all those things I was thinking to myself. It was like, it was just those feelings of like, right? And so I could have just been beating myself up going like, I'm so stuck. Why don't I have any motivation to like invite people to this thing that I am excited about? When what had really happened was I just decided that I wanted to change the plan, right? And so because I decided I wanted to change the plan, now, why wouldn't I just come out and say, oh, hey guys, I changed the plan, right? And I think that is because I don't want to look flaky, right? And that's actually like your lower brain trying to keep you alive and make people like you. And in this case, it's like, but I want people to not think I'm flaky, so they'll join my group and like respect me, whatever, right? The truth is, sometimes I am flaky. Sometimes I make decisions without really thinking them through, and then it would actually be the more honest and practical thing to do to just change those plans. And just like we have 50% positive emotions and 50% negative emotions, we have 50% bad habits too, and negative personal qualities, right? Where sometimes, yeah, I am flaky. Sorry. I will do my best. And that's where having honesty of just like, yeah, I honestly don't like this plan anymore. And to be honest, I should just change it. But then also having curiosity and compassion of like, well, what would have been helpful to make a better plan in the first place? Or, of course, sometimes we just do things without thinking it through. Like, that is a normal part of human life. And so those are going to be 2 or 3. Depends. Okay. I will separate curiosity and compassion. They really tie together so well, because what happens is, again, these are the tools that are the tools for Team U, is having honesty about what's really happening in your brain, right? Just saying to myself, like, I really decided I don't like this plan anymore. Would have let me continue to invite people, which was the main goal anyway, right? And then having intentionality in thinking about your thinking with honesty. And then once you see that, see what's going on, having curiosity and compassion on yourself and about the situation, to be able to, figure out what you want to do intentionally moving forward. And so one of the easiest places to see this is with habits or any commitment with yourself, really, like my little plan I made, right? So your upper brain plus your soon to be past brain make the plan. Your lower brain rebels against the plan. And in like a countercultural best case scenario, you use your kind leadership voice that we're going to work on developing. Your upper brain can like work with your lower brain. In like the normal for our culture sort of worst case scenario, normal case scenario, honestly, things do not go to plan. Your lower brain, or like your impulsive, just like worried about right now part of you, wins, so to speak. You eat the cookie, whatever. And you beat yourself up I can't do anything right. Why did I ever make such a stupid plan? Why did I ever think I could quit cookies? This is dumb. Why can't I ever pull it together? And you get this really mean inner critic bully voice on your team, which just creates huge distrust amongst your team members, right? Where, like, why would I ever try to make a new plan again when it just turns out that I'm being so mean to myself? Like, why would I ever try a new thing when I'm just going to fail and get beat up? It doesn't matter that you're the one beating yourself up as far as like the pain that it inflicts on yourself. It does matter because you can stop it. It's fantastic. So to restate possibly a little bit more clearly than I just did, the honesty and having intentionality in thinking about your own thinking comes together with the self-coaching model, which was designed by Brooke Castillo, and you've probably heard me talk about it, and if not, I need to talk about it some more. And then you look at what you laid out when you organize what's going on in your brain with curiosity and compassion, and it creates such a more clear path forward than constantly trying to improve by beating yourself up and telling yourself how terrible you are at everything, right? And so that's kind of like the players on Team You, a little bit about the main tools that we're going to be focusing on. And the first big resource that I have is a document about how to walk through and make a plan that you're not just going to flake out on and end up regretting and beating yourself up about. Okay. So I would love to have you join because it'll be so fun. I love looking at what our brains are doing and like all the sneaky ways we trick ourselves and just like being onto ourselves and having the ability to just see what's happening without judgment so that you can figure out what you want to do.